Yeah, so
We've done the same thing. We're a city school in Leeds, and the most inner city school in Leeds. We're right bang next to the train station. And we were Ofsted last summer, and we were found requiring improvement, which we disagree with because we think we're a really good school. And it was just exam results that is the only factor. So we made a decision that we weren't going to slam teachers with, we've got requires improvement but no monitoring visits, so we knew we were on our own. And we decided that we knew best for our school, so we haven't done lots of lesson observations. The leadership team haven't done learning walks. What we've done instead is all of the teachers, and I mean teachers, NQTs upwards, we have a green and red card on your door, and if you want someone to come in and have a look at what you're doing and say, oh, I like that, that was good, you put it round to green. If you want people to leave you alone because you've got, you know, a European 9 class and you'd rather be left to it, you can have it in red, and it's completely empowering because you've got teachers who, for years previously, have had the screaming abdabs about having someone in their room, even as I'm a head of department and a senior leader, so even people who I know and work with on a daily basis who are quite happy for me to wander in and out of their classroom, the first moment they think I'm going to judge them, they have sort of a panicking night before and all the rest of it, those people are now much more relaxed, and they're much happier taking somebody going, I absolutely loved that. What happened next though? That, like, what? And they can have that dialogue, and we've seen more school improvement. The other thing that I do though is, obviously we've got Ofsted coming, like they could be coming in next week for all we know. But what we've also decided is that me personally work with the head teacher and one of the deputies, and we're the only people who worry about evidencing. So all of the stuff that we would have to do to prove that we have been accountable and we've been measuring things, only the three of us worry about that, so that everybody else is freed up to just get on with the job of doing a good job. And obviously if the head of department says, I need to look into this, or if a year leader says I need to look into that, we give them the tools to do it, but we're not enforcing it as a structure. So we haven't gone as extreme as you, because we haven't got that luxury. We're under the cost of it.
What's the name of that school?
Mount St Mary's. It's a Catholic school in Central Leeds, and it's really, really helped. We've had, for a school that requires improvement and we're never going to have amazing attainment because of the sort of cohort that we have. I've worked in schools in the same condition where this year would have been absolutely horrific. We'd have had people on long-term stress. We would have had people very unhappy. We'd have hemorrhaged staff. None of that has happened. If anything, our recruitment has gone up. Staff morale is higher.
That's fantastic.
But I was in a meeting last night with the head. If Ofsted come next week, we've never done something like this. So have we covered ourselves? Are we protecting our staff and children from a judgment of, no, this school now needs to go into a category because they haven't done all of that? So it's also that we've tried to do the right brave thing, but it could completely backfire on us in a way that's very unfair because our school is even better than it was a year ago.
This thing, what I'm really interested in is the way people respond to a lesson observation. I mean, I've got people in the school I work at who've been there as long as I have, 30 years or so, and they're fine. You know, they know they're fine, but they go to pieces when they're going to not go to pieces, but they just get really. And why are we afraid? You know, it's a really fundamental question. We shouldn't be afraid of that green door thing, people coming in. Should we? So did you have anything?
Yeah. I just think it's so refreshing to hear what you two have just said.
Yeah.
I think it's more, there are some fundamental questions. Can you actually see learning? Certainly, can you see it in 20 minutes? But there is a huge body of evidence, like Robert Cole will be speaking about it now, that you can't see learning. What you can see is performance, and short-term performance gains actually mitigate against longer-term learning. So why base things on that? It's not valid, it's not reliable. So, why do it basically? That the schools, you can know your quality of your teaching and your staff far better than someone coming in for a 2-day Ofsted.
So did you want to say anything else?
Just the thing for me in terms of all of this, and again going back to what you two have just said, is people don't actually ask. So say for example, ask with behaviour or practice, is setting up a culture of trust, but actually asking the teachers. So instead of doing these learning safaris that I've heard them called, which seems ridiculous, is to actually ask the teachers, well, have you got a problem with behaviour? Rather than going out trying to search, in drones and SLTs going around, because I think the key thing for the teachers is under performance management. If they don't trust an SLT, anyone, if their job or their pay is they're accountable to it, are very good at hiding it. They will
Mm.
just simply hide that, and they'll make sure that you don't see it. So
Mm.
it's just counterproductive, really, at the end of the day.
So, thanks. So, colleague here, yeah.
I think you before I went.
So I know her.
Your original question was about ways in which people
Yeah.
are judged, and it's so lovely to hear what you have to say. And I love my school, but it's completely the opposite.
Yeah.
Completely the opposite. So, in the last since September, I've had lesson observations, learning walks, book looks, and that's not with without my knowledge. Book looks, so
Right.
books taken from my room at some point when I wasn't there, and then I'm sat down, and then there's a judgment on those books, which was about ticking a box for someone else, not adding value to the learning to my students. Student interviews. I would say staff are judged on what students say about them and what parents and other stakeholders say about them. Student questionnaires. There's quite a number.
About you or
So I'm talking. That's how the school operates. So I've been subject to this, as has everyone, not me specifically. We've been scrutinised massively, and people find it really hard.
Has it helped?
Yeah, it's got any better.
So we were in a category. We were in a category, and that was why I feel like that's why we were being scrutinised in that way, because it felt that ALT really needed to make sure that everyone was doing everything they needed to be doing to not be in a category. That when Ofsted came back, they would take us out, which they did. So we've almost been told, well, that stuff was for your good, and it's worked. But hearing what you're saying, I think that actually you may not need it.
What you're talking about is monitoring. We talk very carefully about quality assurance, monitoring and self-evaluation as three completely different things.
Yeah,
What you're
and
talking
this
about is monitoring, like you could put a kid on a report and they have to check in with a form tutor. That it's the equivalent.
Yeah.
It's not enriching you as staff
No.
to want to do better and be equipped to do better.
Yeah.
It's about driving you forward with stick, not carrot.
Yeah, and there's that kind of weighing the pig doesn't make it fatter, and everyone keeps going back and weighing the pig. Now, so in my department, I'm one of 2 members of staff out of 10 staying next year, and we can't fill those vacancies, and I feel like they've just done.
And where's your school? You don't have to name the school.
It's in Oldham.
Right.
So it's.
That's interesting, isn't it? That almost two opposite
and
ends
for you,
of.
you're saying recruitment and retention has improved, and those are our biggest struggles. And actually, I feel like we got out of the category, and now we're losing all our staff.
And how much of that has helped you? Has helped you? Is it?
I don't feel like